Tuesday, 9/8 Central. Catch a new FBI. Only CBS.
CBS Sports, your 2018 home of March Madness. The Masters, the PGA Championship, PGA Tour, SEC football, the NFL, and February 3rd, Super Bowl 53.
Week 6 in the NFL. And there is the hope in Cleveland, and his name is Baker Mayfield. And guess what, guys? If they win today, they'll be undefeated in their first 4 home games in an NFL season for the first time since 1963.
There's Andy Dalton, leads the NFL fourth quarter comeback. Speaking of comebacks, boom, you should come back, because with 171 yards, he passes our guy, Boomer Esiason, for second all-time in Bengals history.
Oh, that's a shame. Here's Sam Darnold of the New York Jets. Last week, he threw the football down the field with success. Had to give him some confidence. Will it carry over today's game or versus the Colts?
Now for the quarterbacks, J.J. Watt looks like the J.J. of old. 6 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles. He'll be chasing Josh Allen of the Bills today as they look for their 3rd win in a row.
And that and more coming up on the NFL Today, powered by Ram Trucks.
Stand by to move right. Ready, 1, take 1. Stand by to bring it back. Take 4.
Well, record on 43.
3, 2, 1.
And hello, everyone. I'm James Brown as we get right to the Week 6 headlines here on CBS. One of the early surprises of the NFL season has been the play of Andy Dalton and the 4-1 Bengals. Today, Cincy looks to solidify their lead in the AFC North as they take on the rival Steelers. Number 1 pick Baker Mayfield has provided more than a spark to the new-look Browns team that's turning heads around the league, and it's clear the future is bright in Cleveland, a city hoping for a football revival. Meanwhile, down in Texas, where everything, of course, is big, frustration is big for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. And now with a 2-3 record and play calling in question, will Jerry Jones run out of patience in Big D? As we bring you back inside Studio 43, I'm joined at the desk. Boomer, is he sensitive or what? Phil Simms.
Right out of the gate. Right out the gate.
Right out the record of yours is going down, but they'll never break that interception record. Don't worry.
All right, don't worry about that either. He's just a little jealous. He threw for 500 yards against us when I was there, but we beat him. Oh! Yes, okay. Boomer Esiason, Nate Burleson, the coach who settles everything down. And, of course, the lovable Phil Simms. It's Steelers week, Boomer.
Man, it is Steelers week, Coach. You know how this goes.
I get it.
And in Cincinnati, it is a big week. But the problem is it hasn't gone so well when they have played the Pittsburgh Steelers over the years. Tomlin owns Lewis, and Roethlisberger owns Dalton. However, I will say something that I saw last week for the Cincinnati Bengals changed my viewpoint of this team completely. Not only is Andy Dalton and A.J. Green playing great, they got 2 defensive touchdowns as they came back against the Dolphins last week. So for me, this is a complete football team, and I think today is the day.
That's right. They got A.J. Green and also Joe mixing it up. He's going to be in the mix. But here's the thing. What's different about this Bengals team? The thing that's different is they're averaging 30 points, right? The defense for the Steelers, I'm sorry, Coach, they're ranked 25th, which means they can put up points. But what's most important, though, defensively, they get after the quarterback. They lead the league in QB hits and in defensive touchdowns, Coach. Them Steelers better watch out. And Big Ben might have trouble today.
I'm so excited, JB, because you can't let the facts stand in the way of a good story. The facts of this matter is, right now, they are 2-8 against Pittsburgh. They last won a game at home in 2013. And when you look at the Pittsburgh team, they still lead the league in sacks. T.J. Watt is part of that lead with 6 sacks. And when you look on the other side, James Conner has been running very, very well. And the matchup of Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown, I think will be too much for the Cincinnati Bengals to keep up with.
Yeah, you know, that division, they're so tough in that North Division. That's all I keep hearing. Black and blue, it's this and that. Well, they got the 4th and 5th highest scoring offenses in the league. How does that happen when you're playing all these great defenses? I think today both teams are going against average defenses.
Cynical.
No, I am. But in the Cincinnati Bengals, I do love their skill guys, Joe Mixon, A.J. Green, Andy Dalton. But what's the skilled person for the Pittsburgh Steelers? It's the Pittsburgh offensive line. Geno Atkins, so great. The last 4 games against Pittsburgh, how many sacks does he have?
0.
1.
A 1.
Close.
You know what? You crack on Boomer, then you look at me and talk about the black and blue division. I mean, Phil, I'll come to you in a little bit.
Is that what he meant?
Yeah, can you believe that? Hey, as we mentioned, Cincinnati currently sits atop the AFC North. And for more on the Bengals' hot start to the season, we head out now live to Cincinnati. We welcome in the calm Hall of Famer. That would be Dan Fouts, who will be calling the Steelers-Bengals matchup. Hello, Dan.
Hello, JB. You know, before the season started, nobody was talking up the Bengals, not even you guys. But after 5 games and a 4-1 record, I think the Bengals have to be considered the surprise team in the NFL so far. And it's been a team turnaround. Offensively, they've improved dramatically in both points scored per game and in yards gained per game. And the turnaround has been just as significant defensively. The Bengals are taking the ball away more frequently, and most importantly, they've found the end zone with those turnovers. Offensively, coming back from knee surgery that cost him 2 games, Joe Mixon was strong last week against the Dolphins. 93 yards rushing on 22 carries, added to 3 more catches for 22 yards. He must put up similar numbers today for the Bengals to win. And defensively, the Bengals have shown the capability, as you talked about, to put points on the board this season. In week 1, Clayton Fledglam scooped and scored on this 83-yard fumble return to beat Indianapolis. And last week, when the offense struggled, Michael Johnson had a pick 6, and this fumble recovery touchdown by local boy Sam Hubbard put the game away. So, JB, talking about how they score points in the 4th quarter this year, the Bengal defense has scored 3 times. They've allowed their opponents to score just twice.
Dan, you led the way scoring plenty of points. You would have thrown for 1 billion yards in today's game. But anyway, Dan Fouts, thank you so very much. We're looking forward to the game. All right, folks, and for more news and notes around the league, we welcome in our NFL Today insider. That would be Jason Locken for the New York City Lights. He knows this all too well. Not looking so bright in Eli's future.
Well, JB, Pat Shurmur not ready to bench Eli yet. But that move can't come fast enough for some of his teammates. Odell Beckham's hardly alone in his frustration with the offense, team sources said, and many of the Giants' key players have lost confidence in their QB. They have deep concerns about Manning's accuracy, his ability to throw downfield, and they're puzzled by the front office passing on so many first-round quarterbacks in recent years. A QB switch seems inevitable. The Cardinals should be among the most active teams ahead of the trade deadline. They're open to offers for all-pro corner Patrick Peterson, sources said. That would be a blockbuster. They're also shopping 2014 first-round pick Dayon Buchanan, among others. Oakland wants to move 2016 first-rounder Carl Joseph and former Pro Bowl linebacker Derek Johnson, sources said. John Gruden is mulling sweeping changes, and rival GMs are already murmuring about Derek Carr possibly becoming available in 2019. The Steelers still have yet to hear from Le'Veon Bell about when he might report. Bell's hinted about a Tuesday return. Pittsburgh remains hopeful of trading him. And JB, no Ryan Tannehill from Miami today. He's out with a shoulder. It's Brock Osweiler against Khalil Mack and the Bears.
All right, Jason, always with his finger on the pulse of what's taking place around the league. Hey, folks, sadly, the Florida Panhandle was devastated by Hurricane Michael this week, and families affected by Hurricane Michael urgently need your support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to these families by donating today. Simply go to redcross.org or text Michael to 90999 to give $10 to the American Red Cross Hurricane Relief.
You know, and JB, here's a guy who gets it. It's J.J. Watt. We all know what he did last year for the Hurricanes, but this year, right before their game against Buffalo, showing some love to Houston Texans fans. Then talking about showing some love, how about you, Jackson? Wonder about Jim Brown. Hey, can you run a few times today maybe for us? Love to have you in the backfield for Cleveland hosting the L.A. Chargers today.
Still ahead on the NFL Today, Baker Mayfield has lived up to the hype since taking over as the Browns' starting quarterback.
The energy in this place has changed ever since Baker Mayfield came into this game.
And the #1 overall pick has football fans in Cleveland barking with excitement. The last few years have been a long journey for Jalen Smith, and now he's exceeding expectations in Dallas as one of the Cowboys' top young defensive stars. Sibling rivalries can be rough, but the only people NFL sack leaders J.J. and T.J. Watt are picking on these days are the quarterbacks they're taking down every week. All that and more when the NFL Today returns on CBS, home of Super Bowl 53. The NFL Today on CBS Sports is powered by Ram Trucks.
It symbolizes that you had what it takes to be the best. As a kid, you dream of the Super Bowl. You think about the Super Bowl. You think about playing in the Super Bowl.
I remember vividly where I kissed this trophy, dead center of it, so let me do it again.
And we will be in Atlanta for Super Bowl 53. That'll be on February 3rd right here on CBS, where, as we just saw, great performances are never forgotten. Meanwhile, we have 3 more intriguing early game matchups to dig into on the NFL Today right now. The Browns are off to their best start in 4 years with the red-hot Phillip Rivers and Chargers coming to town.
And, JB, you are right. Phillip Rivers is red hot, Nate, as we know, completing 70% of his passes, 8.5 yards per attempt. Plus, he's second behind Patrick Mahomes in touchdown passes. I think they found out a little bit about themselves a couple weeks ago when they went on the road to Buffalo and they beat Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I will say this. He's going to be under duress by one of the best pass rushing teams in football. Don't drop that.
I hear you on that. I'm not going to drop it. What about Baker Mayfield, though, looking for his 3rd straight win at home? And he's averaging 280 yards per game. That leads all rookie quarterbacks. And he's out there doing not just by himself with the fabulous Baker boys. You got Hyde, you got Chubb, Landry, and Joke on the defense side of the ball. Christian Kirksey, Myles Garrett will be getting after that quarterback. And, of course, Denzel Ward is playing fantastic.
And how about those Buffalo Bills? Josh Allen is going to be traveling down to the Houston Texans. Josh Allen has 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. J.J. Watt and company will be getting after him. And on the other side, Deshaun Watson looks like he is shaping back into form. He's looking more comfortable in the pocket. He's running around. He's throwing DeAndre Hopkins. And then we talked about that defense. The Houston Texans have won 2 in a row. Can they win 3? And how about the New York Jets, Phil? Can they win 2 in a row?
Well, Bill, if you want answers, I'll give you some answers. Here we go. First off, we got Andrew Luck for the Colts. Look, he's playing better and better as the games go by. Don't forget he didn't play at all last year. Bad news for him today, no T.Y. Hilton. He could use him because the Jets blitz as much as anybody in the NFL. Sam Darnold, big confidence builder last week. The run game was clicking. Down the field throwing was great. And their offensive line, sneaky units you got to pay attention for. JB, let's throw it to you.
All right, and Phil, as you well know, the NFL family lost 2 valued members this week with the passings of Alex Spanos and Jim Taylor. Spanos, who passed away on Tuesday at the age of 95, had been the owner of the Chargers franchise since 1984. Commissioner Roger Goodell praised Spanos this week, calling him, quote, a marvelous friend and partner whose impact on the NFL will never be forgotten. Meanwhile, Taylor, the Hall of Fame fullback for the Green Bay Packers, was a key piece of 4 Vince Lombardi championship teams. Taylor passed away yesterday in his hometown of Baton Rouge at the age of 83. And we here at the NFL Today send along our prayers and condolences to both families. Time now for Golden Moments, brought to you by McDonald's.
Do not let up on these boys. You want that lead? It's on you.
They're going to get there. They're going to sack him. A gigantic play by the Jaguars defense.
Hey, we got to capitalize right here now. Turn up. Oh, baby.
Oh, what a tackle by Jalen Smith. And he's going to get sacked again by the Cowboys.
We are looking forward to that game coming up later right here on CBS. And you know, Dallas linebacker Jalen Smith has overcome many hurdles in his long journey to get to the National Football League. But now that he's made it, he's proving to himself and the Cowboys he was well worth the wait.
Best player on the Notre Dame team is down, Jalen Smith, their All-American
LCL, nerve damage.
I mean, he's undraftable. We don't know that he'd be ready for the start of 2017.
The Dallas Cowboys select Jalen Smith, linebacker,
so much.
Notre Dame.
You, sir. All right now.
Well, when you got that call, you were still recovering from your injury. Can you describe how hard it was day after day, week after week?
It was a lot more mental than physical. You know, with the severity of my injury, you know, people thought I'd never play the game again. You know, I had to really humble myself, getting hurt in my final collegiate game, dropping out of the first round, not being able to play my first year, you know, seeing Dak and Zeke, you know, dominate their first years and understanding that not being able to contribute, you know, on the field, a lot of emotions.
What was it like when you heard, you know, people talking that you would never play the game again or never play at that level again?
Noted. Noted. Noted.
Jaylon Smith with the big blow, and down goes Frazier. Oh, what a tackle by Jaylon Smith.
Think about week 2 against the Giants and the conversation you had with Jerry Jones after that game. I know you had a few words for him. Do you remember those words?
I told him that I was back. That's all. I told him I was back.
Watson trying to get to the goal line. He won't get there. He is stopped short. It was Jaylon Smith.
You remember the play chasing down Deshaun Watson? What do you think that showed your critics out there?
I mean, there's probably still some doubters, but the biggest thing for me was being able to contribute and make a play for, you know, for our team, for our defense.
You're contributing a lot, and a lot of that is because Sean Lee is not able to play right now with the hamstring injury. To be put in that role, given that responsibility, how much pride do you take in that?
Well, it's something that I prepare for. You know, I've been a leader my entire life. So it's just something that I possess. And, you know, I've been preparing, you know, for this moment. You know, Jerry drafted me for a reason, you know, to step in and be that guy.
Jaylon Smith, he's become one of the better middle linebackers in the National Football League.
I understood that I was going to get to this place again and this point again. It was just a matter of time.
And many thanks to Tracy Wolfson for that inspirational story. And, folks, we are thrilled to see Jaylon Smith back on the field and performing at a high level.
Yeah, you talk about Jaylon Smith, and you see his speed, and you see the instincts, and, you know, you see him on the sideline with Sean Lee, and what a great mentor he's going to be. That defense is not the problem. When you think about the Dallas Cowboys, the one thing they have on offense is what the defense, what they don't have is what the defense have. Playmakers. There's no playmakers on the Cowboys offense. And I used to think, if you don't have playmakers, then you got to get creative. You know what? They aren't creative. They don't have playmakers. They're a one-dimensional team right now, Phil. You're talking about Ezekiel Elliott as a runner. The offensive line isn't what it used to be, but it's not bad. But when you're one-dimensional, you're easy to defend.
Yeah, there's no question about it. They've only thrown the football down the field plus 20 yards. Well, they've thrown it fewer than anybody in the league. Why? Because they don't have a wide receiver that can separate from the defenders. You know, you said it, movement, creation, creativity, deception. These are things that slow defenses down. The Cowboys don't do it. And, Nate, you want all these things because why? You're trying to help your offensive players with creativity, give them more chances to make plays.
That's right. Listen, I'm going to take a stand that not too many people are saying about the Cowboys, and that's they have enough. And I'm going to disagree with you. I'll say that they have playmakers. Dak Prescott is an absolute monster. When he goes out there and throws a TD and 0 interceptions, he's 18-0. They know they have the best running back in football when he gets going. And the wide receivers, Cole Beasley, when they were 13-3, he was their leading wide receiver. Hearns is a 1,000-yard receiver once before. You got Gallup, who has shown flashes. There's these different individuals that can make plays for this team. I'm just looking for them to be creative. So I'm not going to call out my former coach, Scott Linehan, but I'll challenge him and say, Scott, let's go ahead and dig into that trick-or-treat bag. It's almost Halloween. Let's show people that this offense can be creative.
You know, there's not enough time to do that. We all know that. There's not enough time in a week to get something like this done. At the end of the day, I put this on Jason Garrett. He had a chance to win a game last week by being aggressive. He wasn't. That was a seminal moment for them. And I think the inaccuracy of Dak Prescott is really hurting those receivers downfield as well.
Well, let's see how soon they can get the act together there in Dallas with what you said are ingredients there. All right, folks, a reminder later, all eyes will be on the big showdown in Big D, where Jacksonville and its top-ranked defense will try to shut down Dallas, which is looking for a big win to stay in the NFC East hunt. Jags Cowboys coming your way, 4:25 Eastern right here on CBS. And you know, October is Crucial Catch Cancer Awareness Month in the league. Pittsburgh running back James Conner, as you really know, is having a breakout season for the Steelers. And by now, most of us do know that James Conner is also a cancer survivor, diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2015. He battled the illness and earned a cancer-free bill of health in 2016. We are indeed happy to see him thriving and continue good wishes for Mr. James Conner.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. Merck. And by Ram Trucks.
Time now to go inside the pregame HQ, delivered by Domino's.
Wow, what a play by J.J. Watt.
T.J. Watt.
What an athletic play by Watt.
The hat trick for J.J. Watt.
T.J. Watt stripping the ball.
Luck is buried. Guess who? It's Watt.
T.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt is
relentless.
So relentless.
J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt.
Oh, yeah, that's what it's all about. And if you haven't seen this already, that is three-time Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt, tweeting at his brother, "Stop copying me, bro," because they both lead the NFL in sacks with 6, along with Geno Atkins. How about that? The brothers talking to each other, showing each other some love. How good is it that we have 2 Watt brothers in the NFL?
We got a third Watt brother right there in the middle.
What?
That's Derek Watt for the LA Chargers. He's the fullback for Melvin Gordon. And by the way, I don't know if you knew this, I thought fullback was extinct in the NFL, but it is not, and he's playing it very well. And by the way, this young man was a part of the leadership club at the University of Wisconsin.
That's my favorite Watt already. And they have the better record. I'm all about this guy right there.
That's exactly right.
There we go. And how about 2 young pups that are playing like big dogs on the defensive side of the ball, Derwin James and Denzel Ward. What's up? What you got for us, Coach and Phil?
How about these 2 defensive rookies right here? You're talking about Derwin James, Denzel Ward. They're leading their respective teams. They play each other today up in Cleveland. And Derwin James, 3 sacks, most among rookies. He also leads the league, leads his team in sacks. But what he does also is watch him play the middle of the field. This is safety, can play at the line of scrimmage. Watch how long his arms are. He's got tremendous reach. He's got big hands, and they love to use him near the line of scrimmage just as a linebacker. So he's got speed to be able to cover the deep middle. He's got the kind of moves he can rush. He's got 3 sacks on the day. On the other side, the darlings of the NFL, they're talking about the Cleveland Browns. Denzel Ward, the kid from Ohio State, great feel for the game. Here he's going to bait Ben into throwing the ball inside. His eyes are on the quarterback. He's got great hands. He's got 3 interceptions on this season, 6 passes to defend, and you know what? He can also tackle. He's not just a cover corner. Here's a quick slant pass right here to Robbie Anderson. And what do? I don't just tackle him. I strip the ball. I pick it up. I change the complexion of the game. This is a playmaker that can make a difference on the field. He's not just the only rookie in the National Football League making a difference, though, Phil.
Well, there's a lot of them. And I got 2 more that I think are...
2 more?
2 more that have an outstanding years. Darius Leonard, he leads the team in sacks, 54 tackles. Look on the other side, Tremaine Edmonds. He has 38 tackles, 4th among rookies. Let's look here. Darius Leonard, linebacker, watching the running back, watch him react to it. His speed, you need a fast middle linebacker now in the NFL. His speed gets him to the tackle very fast. Now he's very good getting sacks, comes off the edge. Houston's not ready, comes underneath, and that's Deshaun Watson who he catches and brings him down. Tremaine Edmonds, 6'5", and it comes in handy because look at those long arms, reaches in, causes a fumble, the Bills recover. And then, as you watch him against Marcus Mariota, mobile quarterback, he's fooled for a second that it might be a run, but it's not. Gets back outside, again, uses that height, those long arms, makes the sack. And Bill will always say this about defenses. If you want a fast defense, you need a fast middle linebacker. There were 2 of them.
I love when you talk about defense, Phil.
Thank you.
Some good rookie defensive players, JB. Back to you, my friend.
Who's rubbed off on who over there?
Yeah. I can't even tell.
Can't even tell. All right, guys, we'll keep the conversation going right here. But with kickoff just about a half hour away, time now to set the scene at your game as we take you out first on the field for the latest news and updates on your matchup. And later, Blake Bortles and the Jags face Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys in our featured matchup. Or Joe Flacco leads the Ravens against Marcus Mariota and the Titans. That comes your way 4:25 p.m. Eastern right here on CBS.
Did you see how Bill Cowher gets all excited talking about defense? You know, he's going to be locked in on this game. Why? Because these are two of the best defenses in football. When you talk about the Ravens, they give up the fewest points per game on defense. They have not given up a touchdown in the second half. And offensively, they have really stalled as of late. As a matter of fact, Joe Flacco has not thrown a touchdown pass in his last 93 pass attempts. That's the longest such streak in his career. So I can't see this game, Nate, being a high-scoring game. Right. I would think that both of these teams are going to be in the teens unless the defenses score touchdowns for their respective teams.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a defensive battle, but when looking at Marcus Mariota, he's still one of the more explosive guys when he gets outside the pocket. He's been dealing with some injuries this year, you know, and you want to say that he micromanages games, and that's perfectly fine, but at home, he is 7-2 since last season, and in that time, though, it's the interceptions, 19 interceptions to just 15 TDs, but on the defense side of the ball, the magic number is 7. They've allowed just 7 TDs and also just 7 points in all of the first quarters throughout the season. Defensive game, you're right about this.
And that's why I think on CBS today, we're going to see some of the best defenses, including the Jaguars and the Cowboys, and then these two teams, of course, going head-to-head. This will be one of those physical games where you know when the coach walks into the meeting on Wednesday as you get ready to play your next team, what do they say? You better button your chin strap, boys, because the guys on the other side are be coming after you. So your offensive linemen got to have their game, and they better be ready to go physically.
Yeah. Sounds like some old school football right there. But here's some new school football. That's Juju Smith-Schuster, has the most receiving yards by any player before turning 22 years old with 1,367. He also leads his team. Yeah, and that includes Antonio Brown on that squad as well.
What does it mean to be a Cleveland Browns fan?
You're asking me? Come on. This is deep. We didn't just start watching pro football here. It was born here.
So you've always had hope?
Always. What is life without hope? Look around. We're not in Miami.
Oh, God. Being a Jet fan is very difficult because, you know, you have your ups and downs every year. But we get through them as Jet fans. We're New Yorkers.
We went to 4 Super Bowls in a row, and it seems like ever since then, it's just gone downhill. But true Buffalo Bills fans never give up.
Buffalo Bills fans, they should not be as loyal as they are.
My lowest moment as a Buffalo Bills fan would be when Scott Norwood missed the field goal against the Giants in the Super Bowl. That's about as bad as it gets.
It's been challenging for the past couple of years.
I mean, it was tough when they didn't win one game. You know, that was hard.
Butt fumble sits in my mind forever.
It's pretty embarrassing.
We have a graveyard of Cleveland quarterbacks.
Charlie Fry in there, Ken Dorsey.
RG3. Johnny Manziel.
Our quarterback history has been so bad.
We had
Geno Smith didn't work out.
Here's my favorite. Jason dropped the ball, Campbell.
Todd Collins.
You go back with so many of them, I can't remember who they are anymore, for God's sake.
This year's hope. A lot of hope.
There's hope. Hope's in the air.
With the first pick, the Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield. With the third pick, the New York Jets select Sam Darnold. The Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen.
It's the most exciting thing we've had in years.
Cleveland Browns have found their quarterback. How's that?
You know, he's the next franchise quarterback.
Baker's got the talent. Baker's got the arm.
Sam Darnold has really renewed the hope in our team.
We have the best rookie quarterback.
With Baker, anything's possible.
He's cute, that's all I know.
Allen steps up.
Jumps over the defender.
Sam Darnold delivers.
For a touchdown.
Showing a little Mayfield magic.
It's so exciting.
Looking better than Eli, I'll tell you that.
J-E-T-S-Jets.
Imagine if we're 9-7, you think we're going to the Super Bowl.
I just want a playoff win.
Let's go, Buffalo!
Go Brownies!
Jets, Jets, Jets!
In the next year or two, Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I'm hoping finally Super Bowl.
Playoffs even this year.
You gotta hit rock bottom in order to go up.
It's a leaping grab to the end zone. Touchdown! And the drought is over.
Oh, what a catch!
The field. He's open. Wide open.
Rookie quarterback is red hot.
Nowadays, I feel like hope is realistic.
The good times are coming.
This year, it's amazing. It's the best feeling I've had in a long time.
We got a future ahead of us. I'm hopeful.
Boomer, hope is alive.
Yeah, it does spring eternal. And I got to tell you, all three of these fan bases feel like they got the leader of the future, which is what you hope to draft when you draft these guys this high.
And that was an excellent piece showcasing that. As a matter of fact, Cleveland, New York City, Buffalo, the three rookie quarterbacks all starting. And check this out, folks. They are all starting and getting ready for their matchups coming up in just a few moments right here on CBS. And let's not forget the Cardinals' Josh Rosen, the fourth member of the rookie starting quarterback class. So let's hand out some grades on these rookies. And who do you think wanted to assess the grades and assign the grades?
Right there.
Of course, the professor.
The professor.
Mr. Sims.
I always
yes.
wanted to be a teacher, so I'm going to hand out a grade. Baker Mayfield, here's what I give you. I give him an A+. Decision-making, throwing the ball aggressively, accuracy, mobility, pocket movement, leadership. It's all off the charts. Baker called me last night, and he said he wanted to tell everybody that didn't believe a 6-foot quarterback could have success in the NFL, he's giving you an F.
Oh. Really?
There you go.
What does that F stand for?
Well, whatever you want it to stand for.
Well, you'll tell you what, I'm glad that you really like him.
No, I love him.
I would say Sam Darnold, to me, I'm going to give him a B+. I love his arm strength. He's accurate. He's got great presence in the pocket. You know what? At times, he may get a little careless at times, so I think he's got some ways to go. But, you know, he deals with the New York media very well. But I'll tell you what, I'll give an A to Jeremy Bates, the offensive coordinator. He's done an excellent job bringing him along.
I hear you on that. Well, I got Josh Allen. I'm going to give Josh Allen a C+. And let me get into full professor mode. There's a ton of teachable moments. Like when he had that altitude on that hurdle, that determines the aptitude, right? That's raw talent. When he breaks outside the pocket, he has 3 rushing TDs. We know he's athletic. But my teacher's guide is based on blocking skills. They ain't the block for that man.
Well, a lot of the scouts said that this guy here, Josh Rosen, was the most pro-ready. And after watching him last week, I would say, okay, I could see some good things there. The best news right now for him, and his grade is incomplete as far as I'm concerned, because I need to see more of a body of work, as Coach likes to put it. Larry Fitzgerald said that Josh Rosen now, the Cardinals are his team.
Speaking of his team, Baker called Phil Simms.
Yeah, he called him.
Nice.
Wow.
Hotline.
Pretty good. Hotline indeed. All right.
I would think Russell Wilson and Drew Brees have done a lot for shorter quarterbacks.
Eli Manning and the Giants' struggles continue. And after Thursday night's disappointing loss to the Eagles, Coach Pat Shurmur said, quote, "I'm not concerned about Eli. The obvious question as I turn to the quarterback grader, should he be?"
Well, I think everybody is. And yes, he should be concerned about Eli Manning. There's a lot of things going wrong with the Giants offense. One thing that I see, you know, when you get an offensive game plan, we all know that there's about 6 plays in the corner of that game plan that is for you to throw the football down the field to make a big play that can maybe make a difference in the game. The Giants are calling those plays, but the problem is Eli Manning is not giving them enough time to develop and throw the football down the field. When those plays are called, you as a quarterback, you know it, Boomer, you get excited. You got to stand in there, take the hit, and get it down the field.
You know, and that's the problem. He's not standing in there. He's skittish. They said that about him back in 2017. Jerry Reese did. He led him to 2007, led him to the Super Bowl after that. But at the end of the day, you could see that he is not comfortable on the football field. And I think there is a lack of confidence there, no matter what he says. And finally, this week, he did come out and say, look, I have to play better because everybody in that locker room is looking to him to be the leader. The one thing I will say here about all of this and this whole discussion, it goes back to the owner, John Mara. He was the one who told Dave Gettleman and Pat Shurmur, he's your quarterback, make it happen, spend the money. They went out to support him, and right now they're looking, you know, at one of the worst seasons in Giant history, especially at the start of this season.
Yeah, Boom, you mentioned that he's not comfortable on the field or in the pocket. Well, some of his teammates aren't comfortable with this play. Now, I get it. I want to take people into the locker room and they can understand where Odell was coming from. I'm not saying that what he said when he was giving that interview about his quarterback is okay, but there's only so many times you can say, he's doing fine, we'll get over it. Prime example, Aaron Rodgers sit there and talk to the media and say, my team, my receivers are playing piss poor. And people say, oh, it's just Aaron Rodgers motivating his team. He was talking to his team through the media. Odell was just simply saying, Eli's not playing the way that we need him to play. And we're all echoing it, but guys in the locker room are finally saying, I'm going to speak on it. You can be transparent in the locker room, but it's another thing to do it in the media, and I'm fine with the way Odell did it.
And I sit there and I will say the same thing. We all see the uncomfortable position that Eli is in with this offense. So if I'm the head coach and I'm Pat Shurmur, I sit there and say, okay, well, how are you comfortable? Let's go back to the 2011 Super Bowl team. He was under center 45% of the time. Pat Shurmur in September went out and got Elijah Penny, a fullback. And on Thursday night, they were under center 70% of the time on first and second down. He is trying to get back to what he does best. It does take time. I agree with you. He is not stepping up in the pocket. Right now, if I look at Eli Manning, he's seeing a rush, not feeling a rush. He's not looking downfield. He's looking at people rushing him. As a quarterback, you both know, I feel the rush. I look down the field. Consequently, he's inaccurate. Consequently, he's late with throws. He's missing some of the big throws. So right now, if I'm Pat Shurmur, I would pull him in. I would watch him because I don't know if he sees it or not. You can't be looking at the rush. You have to step up in the pocket. The rules are helping you right now. You shouldn't be worried about the rush. Step up in the pocket and look downfield because right now he's not doing that. He is skittish in the pocket.
And you know what? You guys are from the fraternity, and I respect what Nate is saying. But in terms of teams and organizations, if you got a problem, come to me, go speak it as opposed to us outside.
Keep it in-house.
We don't help matters at all. So my question is, will Eli Manning be the starting quarterback next season?
He better not be. I mean, I think the Giant fan is basically exhausted about it. I'm exhausted talking about it every day on a radio show, so I say no.
With big money comes big expectations. He's not fulfilling those expectations. I say no.
Give it time, people. Give it time. He's trying to get back to us right now. Yeah, because you know what? This is a new system with...
Time is running out, Coach.
No, time is running out. He's got 5 games with Pat Shurmur with this offense. Allow him to sit there. This is the best option they have. The body of work you will have at the end of the season will determine his future. But allow him right now to rectify the issues that he has, and let's see how it plays out.
Well, we'll see about next year. I think if I had to say yes or no, I don't think he'll be back as a starting quarterback of the Giants next year. But you're right. Pat Shurmur with Case Keenum, they were 48% of the time under the center. That's where the big plays come from, deception. We've talked about it all the time with play actions. They've tried it with Eli some this year. It has not worked. So, you know, the big thing for quarterbacks in this league now, what's the word? It's mobility. You got to move to throw the football, and you got to move to make plays, and he's not doing that either.
He is the best option they have to win right now.
Well, they have no other option.
They cleared the deck. They made sure they had no other option.
Appreciate the passion and the honesty on this topic. A tough one for sure. All right, folks, time now for the NFL Today picks presented by FedEx. A big AFC matchup tonight. So the question is, who wins, Chiefs or Patriots?
Just to say who wins it, I'm going to take Tom Brady. You know, all the throwing that they can do. They're going against one of the worst defenses in the NFL, 31st against the pass. And let's see, what does Bill Belichick do? He takes away the other team's 2 best options. That means Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. I don't think they'll have big nights. I think it'll be Patriots.
I think there's a lot of injuries right now on the defensive side of the ball, particularly for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think I like the New England Patriots, and I love watching the 2 tight ends that are playing tonight. Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, 2 of the best tight ends in the game today. Watch those 2 as opposed to the 2 quarterbacks. They're pretty special, too.
Patriots have been monsters in so long for this league, so long in this league for a long time. But I'll say this. The Chiefs have already pickled the beast. Last year, they won that first game of the season. Kareem Hunt destroyed them on the ground. Tyreek Hill had a coming-out party, and now they got a better quarterback this season. I got the Chiefs.
You know, one of the reasons they won that game last year was because Eric Berry was playing safety for the Chiefs. He had a monster game against Rob Gronkowski, and the officials wouldn't throw the flag. I agree with Coach. I think both of these tight ends are going to have huge games tonight. The team with the ball last is going to win the game. I think this is going to be a game like 34-31, 40-38, something like that.
Answer the question.
And I'm telling you right now, I am going with the Patriots. Why? Because young
What are the sports that you play and participate in, Nate?
What are the sport? Basketball and track.
Track. And Kansas City has a bunch of what on there? Track stars?
They got a bunch of track stars. They go run up and down on the Patriots.
No question about it. Hey, a reminder, go to NFL.com/FedEx. Cast your vote for the FedEx Air and Ground NFL Players of the Week. And don't forget to follow along. See all of our weekly picks at CBSSports.com/FedEx. All right, folks, kickoff just a few minutes away. And guess what? We'll get you out to your game next.
NFL Today on CBS Sports is powered by Ram Trucks.
And a reminder, later, Blake Bortles and the Jags face Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys in our featured matchup, or it'll be Joe Flacco leading the Ravens against Marcus Mariota and the Titans. Coming your way, 4:25 Eastern, right here on CBS. Time now for the latest round of burning questions here on the NFL Today, and we get right to it, going to field first. And I believe they're sitting in second, right? Washington currently sits in second for first place in the NFC East, Phil. Will Washington win the NFC East?
Well, serious question. Okay, will they win the NFC East? I would say no. I like their offensive line. I think it's pretty steady. I like their Alabama defensive front. That's playing well. But the wide receivers, defensive backs, that's where I see the problem. Not making plays, so I don't think they'll win it.
I think it comes down to them and the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'll tell you what, I think it's a battle of attrition because you're talking about Jason Peters maybe just going down.
Yeah.
And anything can happen. I still like the Washington didn't look very good on Monday night, no question about it, when they went against the New Orleans Saints. But I'll tell you what, I think they're going to give a battle. I wouldn't, right now, I would pick Philadelphia. I'll tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me if Washington. They're the two best teams in the NFC.
Yeah, that Philadelphia offense, I know they were playing up against the Giants, but it looked creative and it looked fast. Looked like they're finally clicking, looking like last year.
Last week I said, watch out for the Washington Redskins. They're under the radar, and then they get destroyed by Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. I still think they are a good team, and I think that they will be heard from as the season goes on. And remember, they play in the NFC East, where the teams are really struggling.
Yeah. All right, Nate. Will the Vikings win the NFC North?
This is tough, JB, because the historian in me says that Aaron Rodgers, when he plays well and the season progresses, he plays at such a high level. The lion in me says Detroit, they beat Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. It has to be them. The gullible side of me says buy into what the Bears are selling. The 6 TDs a couple weeks ago, that's the team. But yes, the Vikings, though. Kirk Cousins is playing at such a high level.
Coach.
And defensively, offensively, they're good. I'm going with the Vikings. I'm going to say yes for the NFC North. Respect the champs.
I'll tell you what, I think the best defense right now in the National Football League, the best defensive player in Khalil Mack. I love the 1-2 punch of the running backs they have right there.
Yeah.
I love the quarterback, the head coach, Matt Nagy. I like the Bears.
Wow, man, I'll tell you. This is a hard one.
No, it's not.
It's a toss-up.
I know the defense is great. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers still. I'm not going to give up on him. I still think that he's got a lot left in the tank. Know that he's playing with a bad leg. Yeah. We know that. And I still think he will have a second-half run in him that will get the Green Bay Packers to #1.
Yeah, Minnesota Vikings, you're right. Kirk Cousins, he's played like his quarterback play, they should be 5-0.
Right.
But the rest of the team is not pulling its weight. I worry about their offensive line. If you have an average offensive line, you're not going to win the Super Bowl or do anything special. I like the Chicago Bears. Tell me the position on the field where the Bears are not solid or really, really good.
Yeah. 2 minutes left in this round here. Let's go to Boom A.
Yes.
Which team has been more disappointing, the Falcons or the Giants?
Well, I could say they're both disappointing. The Falcons are disappointing because of all the injuries they have, especially on defense. The Giants have been a disaster. They misdiagnosed this whole thing in the offseason. They said, hey, you know, we got enough in Eli Manning left. We could draft Saquon Barkley, who, by the way,
playing outstanding.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Really, right now, there's only 2 reasons to watch the New York Giants when they're on television. One is to see whether or not Odell Beckham Jr. is just going to go nuts on the sideline.
Right.
And the other is to watch the brilliance of Saquon Barkley. So I would have to say, with all the money that has been spent on the Giants, it is the New York Giants far and away.
I would say the Giants because there's at least moments that the Falcons looked really good offensively and even sometimes defensively. But the Giants, there hasn't been a moment where I thought through 2 quarters they looked like they're supposed to.
The Giants have been bad for 2 years. I mean, Atlanta Falcons were in the playoffs a year ago, and right now they've got 1 win.
Wow.
The Atlanta Falcons, to me, are the most disappointing team in the National Football League by far.
With no question. You know, they were a team you think there's nothing there that we can want. We got it all. We went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Yeah. I thought they were going to be in this fight, be a team that was not only win the division, you know, have a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Injuries.
So really, all right. My gosh, every team gets injuries.
Only time for a yes or no. Go to Coach first. Are the Saints the best team in the NFC?
I love old school, but I like this new wave of football. I think the LA Rams got a really good defense. I said the LA Rams.
Rams. I got the Rams too, baby. West Coast.
Saints.
You're grumpy.
You believe that?
Yeah, I do. Boy, heck, I said it.
Doesn't mean you believe it now. Hey, Boomer, has he not given different answers on different shows?
Yes, he does.
Thank you very much.
My
we'll see you back at 4
right
Eastern, 1 Pacific right here on CBS.